Quote, at 56 years, I want to relax and enjoy my family and life, and therefore I am not ready to take up the appointment as ambassador to Italy, unquote. These are the words of former Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Otiko Djaba, as she turns down her appointment as Ghana's ambassador to Italy. In an interview with the Daily Graphic, Otiko Djaba disclosed that she turned the offer down because she had resigned from active politics. She further explained she's leaving politics to take care of her ex-husband, who has had stroke for the past 6 years. She said, quote, I am the one who has been taking care of him since he got sick, and I cannot abandon him now, unquote. The former minister has handed over to the Minister of Planning, Professor George Jan Bafo, who's standing in for the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Hajia Alima Mahama, who's presently in Mecca. Head of the political desk here at JoyNews, Evans Mensah, joins us for some more on this. Evans is joining us via phone. Evans, good morning, if you can hear me. What more do we know besides what she's told the Daily Graphic? And has this ever even happened before?
I don't recall in our recent political history where a minister was given an appointment and turned it down. I'm pretty sure that in a long history there may have been instances such as this, but of course this certainly in the last decade will be in one of the first ones. I mean, and if you look at it, really, this is a gender minister who had everybody answering to her. Once you become an ambassador, in her case, she became an ambassador. She was appointed as an ambassador to Italy, removed from the post of the substantive minister. You then answer to another minister. In this case, the foreign affairs minister, who happens to be another lady. You know, I mean, so from that point of view, you would see that appointment, the ambassadorial appointment, as inferior to a substantive ministerial position which she held on to recently. And you can reasonably come to the conclusion that that would, in her mind, would have been a demotion from a position where everybody answered to you to a position now that you have to answer to somebody, was a demotion. But we shouldn't discount her reasons that she's giving. Her reasons are, I want to spend time with my children and I want to take care of my ex-husband. We need to take it at face value, but you can also reasonably say that if you look at the background to what has happened today, she clearly wasn't happy with the fact that she's removed from a substantive ministerial position to one that she has to answer with somebody, and had to come up with a reason, possibly, to justify why she cannot accept that position. We are told in the graphic, from what we are learning, that she told the president about her decision sometime yesterday. If that is the case, and within that time, and the time that graphic would have gotten the story, would have been a short period. And so she had probably planned this and been chewing on this since the reshuffle happened and had taken this decision. And she said she's also quitting politics. And we shouldn't forget that Otiko Djaba held the senior-most position in the party when it came to organizing women until, of course, her appointment as a substantive minister. That was a very important position. And so for her to abandon politics altogether, something has happened beyond what she's told us as a reason that obviously needs further probing.
Evans, you know, before changes happen, I want to believe that these things would have been communicated to the people involved. If she didn't want the ambassadorial role, she must have said it to whoever made the changes.
Yes. I mean, when the reshuffles happen, you're told about where you're going. But if you didn't like it then, you have to give yourself time to consider, to think through it. Because remember that you don't want to burn your bridges on your way out. And so if I were in her position and I didn't like the new position I got, which would have been a demotion, and the president is the one who appointed you in the first ministerial position and is giving another appointment, although a lesser, inferior one, you still would have to do the right thing and give yourself time to think through it. Find reasons that everybody will accept I mean, and these reasons are acceptable. If your ex-husband is challenged health-wise and you want to spend time taking care of him, nobody can argue with that. If you go to the president and say, that is the reason why I want to quit, it's difficult for the president to argue with that. It's family. It's another reason she cited. It's difficult for the president to argue with that. You will need time to think through these issues. And I think she's giving herself enough time to think through these issues and convince herself that, no, I don't want to pick this. And remember, if she goes to Italy, and the reasons that she's giving, if she goes to Italy, it's going to take her away from all the reasons she cited. Her family, she's not going to be in touch with them because she has to be in Italy. The other option is to fly the family there, but the family, the children are possibly in school. And so that disturbance that will happen to the family is significant. And of course, the ex-husband isn't well. Again, if you go to Italy, you are going to be away and unable to attend to him. Yeah. So clearly, if you look at that too, then you say to yourself that, yeah, those reasons are really on point. Because if you take me to Italy, I can't spend time with my kids. I won't be in the position to take care of my ex-husband. And therefore, she's given herself time to think through these issues carefully and has come to a conclusion that she believes is good for her. She's thinking about herself now and not necessarily, what the president wants, and which most often than not we have to do. And when you find yourself in a position where you feel a certain discomfort.
Evans, finally, she's taken a backseat from politics. What would that mean to the NPP, even though she wasn't, if you like, in the midst of the party politics?
Well, listen, we shouldn't underestimate the role she played in the lead up to the 2016 election. The fact that the NPP won, and won by a significant margin, is in itself a good testimony, I guess, to the role that she would have played. No matter how small, the party won, and you cannot discount the role she would have played in organizing the female, sex women for the party's cause. So clearly, and she would have gained some invaluable experience in that role. And whoever recently won that position at the party's recent the conference will need sort of tutoring from her because of the role she played. And so the party definitely, her experience, if she says she's taking a backseat from active frontline politics, that doesn't mean, for example, that once she goes into, the family mode, her advice is also absent. I don't know. Possibly she can still advise. But they will need Otiko Djaba going into the 2020 elections because of the experience she's had that delivered them contributions she put in that delivered them that significant victory. And another thing I need to point out that we need to pay attention to. Just last week, we remember that the national coordinator of the school feeding program was on radio talking to us about how people came to his office, to lock out the office. And he then alleges that people came from the gender ministry to do that. And so that points to something. We've always had the school feeding challenge in the past, that there's some simmering tensions there. The way she's managed the school feeding program, etc., going forward, that may possibly maybe simmering in the background that we haven't paid attention to, that maybe had come to this crescendo. But whatever it is, the party will need her experience, and therefore, definitely, there'll be some loss politically to the party.
Evans, we'll leave it here. There will be more, I know, from tomorrow after the holiday.